The first important thing about a professional interview is, of course, the preparations. Regarding planning and preparations, we divide between three kinds of preparations. We have case preparations. We read the case files, so we know the case. Then we have physical preparations. Is everything ready? Do you have the equipment you need? How is the interview room? Is it ready? Have you turned off your mobile phone, etc., etc.? Physical preparations. And then we have mental preparations. And let me start by talking a little bit about physical preparations. How do we set up the interview room? This is how we set up the interview room. This is how we interviewed Breivik. This is how we interview victims of crime in the same room. Sometimes, because we follow, everything is video recorded, his lawyer is sitting here in the same room as them, but it's not caught on camera, but his lawyer is always here. Nina has a screen here, and sometimes we help Nina during the interview. This is in serious cases, in homicide cases, not bicycle theft, and we don't have the resources. But in serious cases, we use these rooms. And the supervisor and colleagues, they can sit outside and help Nina. So we can dump a question that she can, or we can say, good, you can move on to next topic. We have enough information. We can assist the interviewer without interrupting the communication between these two people. After we have planned, then it's time to meet the victim or the suspect. And the way we do it is that we give information. So here is a list, a procedure that we teach our detectives to follow. It may look very simple, but if you follow this procedure, the chances are much greater that you will stimulate communication and hence get information. So I tell them my name, my role, and then I immediately start to give information about the case, why we are here, why the situation, where toilets, if you need water, if you need breaks. I tell them that everything is video recorded. I give information immediately. I give them information about the right to remain silent, the right to a counselor or a lawyer, etc., etc. I give information. And I tell them what will happen in the interview. I tell them about how I'm about to conduct the interview. The reason why I do that is that people are nervous. They don't know what will happen, but I tell them. Because nervous people, they do not communicate very well. I will, introduce myself and tell me that my name is Asbjørn Raklev. I am a detective here at this union. Okay? Okay. You may call me Asbjørn, no problem. What do you want me to call you?
Dima. Fidyrka Dima.
Dima?
Dima, yes.
Okay, Dima. Please, sit down. And we have arrested you because we have information that gives us reason to suspect that you have stolen a car, for instance. So we give information immediately. If you need to use the toilet, if you need a break, please, it's down the hallway, just tell me, etc. And then I inform about, if there's a video recording or audio recording, I tell immediately now that the video recording is going on. And then I inform you that you don't have to talk to me. It's your free choice. If you need or want a lawyer, you are required to have one. If the Norwegian state will pay for the lawyer, etc. And I don't know the Ukrainian law or how much you are obligated to inform, but please follow the law. If the police doesn't follow the law, how can you expect respect from the society? It's impossible. But coming back to the part about communication. So the way I am about to conduct this interview is that first I will inform you about your rights. And we have no rush. I will go slowly so you understand each individual right. Then you decide if you want to talk to me or not. It's up to you. If you are willing to talk to the police, I will make sure and allow enough time and provide you with the opportunity to tell your story. I will listen to you. I will not interrupt you. After that, I have some questions. If you at any time have any questions to me, please, seriously, please just ask me. Is there anything that you need to ask me right now before we continue?
No, everything is clear.
Right, thank you. The reason why we communicate about the communication and inform is that, as I said, people are nervous. But it creates predictability also. So it stimulates communication. It is small things, but it's fair also. And the chances are that if I approach every suspect in this way, and it doesn't matter what you are suspected of, even Breivik, we use this methodology. Basically, this is how we try to establish rapport, by using human rights as not an instrumental tool to get information, but as a tool to actually stimulate fair and ethical communication. Reliability hierarchy, introduced by Becky Milne. And what she is doing here is that she is summing up all the eyewitness psychological theories, research. What kind of questions do we ask, and in which order? After we have given the opportunity for a free account, after the first free account, then it's our time to ask questions. We call it clarification and challenge. So what kind of questions should we ask? Based on this knowledge, start with the free account. Tell me as much about, in detail, about the meeting. Tell me everything, everything you remember. And then we can go down and ask these investigative questions. Who was present? What happened next? Etc. Sometimes, yes, sometimes we have to go down and ask leading questions, but we try to avoid it. We really try to avoid it. But there are suspects, for instance, who don't want to respond to open-ended questions. For instance, I ask if you are suspected of murdering your wife, for instance. Sorry. I ask you, what did you do last night? And then you start to talk about, yeah, last night, well, I had to fix the house because my wife never fixed the house, and so I had to do this, blah, 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 and my wife never does, and talks about something else. And I have to come back. What about last night? And you know, they're like a soap. They don't answer. So sometimes we have to For instance, did you or did you not leave the house? You know, alternative questions. Yes, no. But always, always try first. And with children, never use these kinds of questions. So we try to avoid these questions. Closed questions, leading. And have a structured interview. Take one topic at a time. Talk about one thing. It could be detectives will know that there are certain topics that we have to and so take one. Don't jump from here to here and back here. No, take one topic at a time. Be structured. Eventually, then each topic will look like this. Start with open questions, then listen and explore. Listen and summarize if it's an important topic. Interview strategy starts in the planning and preparation. As I said, the first thing the police officer has to do, the detective, is to identify all potential evidence. The case. Why did you arrest this person? What information is pointing towards guilt? Why did you arrest him? Why do you have a suspicion? It could be a fingerprint, DNA, it could be a witness identification, it could be video surveillance, I don't know. But there must be some potential evidence, otherwise you cannot arrest him. So what is the potential evidence? That's the first thing. Then, before the interview starts, you have to identify all other possible explanations. Could this man be innocent? We have the fingerprint on the scene. Yes, but could this fingerprint have been placed on the scene of the crime for a natural reason? What? What are the possible explanations? You have to identify them before the interview starts. And then, when we come to this stage, you have to explore, interview, and test all these other explanations before you disclose the evidence, okay? And we have witnesses that say that this girl was taken into a car with force, and that car looked very much like your car. And the person who did it had glasses, and you are arrested. Okay? So he's arrested, and we search your car. And in the back of the trunk of your car, we find a strand of hair from the woman inside the back trunk in your car. Potential evidence. How should we interview him? The American way? No. We have to identify who owns the car, who uses the car. Have you lent the car to somebody else? How many keys are there to the car? Do you have all the keys? Maybe somebody else has keys? No? Okay. Have you picked up any hitchhikers? Have you transported any goods for anybody? No? Okay. When the detectives have tested through interviewing, looking for innocence, then we present the evidence. Not before. So can you please then tell me and explain why we found a stray of hair from the missing girl in the back of your car? Then it becomes very difficult for the guilty suspect to come up with an alternative explanation, because we have already tested this without coercion, through interviewing. And what is very important for me to emphasize is that this thinking is a way to operationalize the presumption of innocence. Because we are looking for innocence. Because if he is innocent, there is an alternative explanation. But if he is guilty, it becomes very hard. He may change his story and come up with a conspiracy theory or whatever. The judge will not believe it. And quite a few suspects will, at this time, say, okay, I will tell you what happened. They will confess. Not all, absolutely not, but quite a few. If we have been clever enough. But the most important part for me to tell you is that it stimulates detectives' open-mindedness, because they are forced to think about alternative explanations. They don't get one tunnel vision. He's guilty. I want to confirm it. It stimulates open-mindedness. This technique is called strategic use of evidence. SUE. Check it on the internet. It's been tested and done research in Sweden, in England, in the United States. And scientists are finding that police officers who conduct interviews in this way get better results. In fact, it increases the value of the evidence you possess. Keep in mind, prosecutors and judges, that all these alternative explanations will be tested in the court. You know, if the police don't test this in the pre-trial stages, maybe the suspect or the accused will come up with an alternative explanation later on. In the literature, it's called ambush defense. The suspect, 1 year later, has come up with an explanation that the police did not check. And guilty suspects sometimes go free because the judge say, well, fuck, yeah, it's possible. It was not tested. So that's why it's also effective, the whole system, that the police do a proper job testing all these hypotheses. Yeah. And you don't need, when you present the potential evidence, you don't need to slam it in the table. Oh, got you there. No, you can just say, we have found 2 strays of hair from the girl in the back of your car. Can you please explain how they have landed in your car? With a natural tone. Don't need any like this. Just ask. And then use silence. And the video camera is there. Can you please explain? And they think, if they are guilty. If you have done a proper job interviewing all possible explanations, it's very tough to be a guilty suspect. Because all the alternative explanations is gone before we present the potential evidence. We don't have to scream or be macho, or it's more effective. Then, after interview, please make a professional closure of the interview. Of victims and witnesses and suspects. What they remember from the interview is quite often the closure. Please let them be respected also here. Do you have any questions to me now that we are finished? Please ask them. Doesn't take very much long time, but they get a feeling of respect. And they walk out of the interview room feeling actually respected. and they go home to their families and say, yeah, well, I was at the police station. They ask tough questions, but they treated me fair. So make a professional closure. Provide them with the information on what will happen next, etc. Try to create a positive ending. And if you want to be a really good interviewer, you have to train and you have to evaluate yourself and your performance. And you also have to, of course, evaluate the information that you got. So the interview is over, but your job, if you want to become professional, you need to start evaluating. And if you want to be a professional interviewer, you need training. And also in everyday life. Yeah. If you follow investigative interviewing, you automatically follow human rights.